Hey, what's up, practitioners? Grayson here. I hope that is you out there. I want to take a minute today to talk about how to optimize some of the most valuable real estate on your HealthProfs profile to bring in more of your ideal clients. So this is kind of based on something I learned from one of my favorite teachers in high school. And it was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Rosh. And he pretty much said, if you ever want to understand human behavior, why people do what they do, just remember that everybody on the planet is walking around with a giant tattoo across their chest that says, I want to feel understood. And so I think that can really be applied to business, to marketing, to pretty much all aspects of life, where if we can show that we truly understand somebody, that's going to go a long way in helping us feel a closer connection, to building that trust, to getting clients or prospects to want to work with us. And so we always want to be keeping that in mind when we're putting out a message, we're doing any sort of marketing, when we're talking to people, that if we can show that we truly understand their situation, that's going to help us have a closer connection. That's going to help us build that trust. And so I want to show you how we can use that to help bring in more of our ideal clients in order to help them, solve the problems that they want to solve. So one of the simplest ways to kind of check if we're doing this properly, to see are we showing people that we understand their situation? One of the simplest ways that we can do that, or one of the ways that you can use that to evaluate the sort of messages, the sort of marketing that you're putting out there, is when we're reviewing it, are we talking about them and their problems, or are we talking about us? And it's kind of natural that we know ourselves the best. We know what we do. We know the sort of value that we can provide. And so most marketing that I see, people start talking about themselves. They start talking about their own business, their own accomplishments. And there's a time and place for that. But any sort of good conversation, any sort of good relationship should start with your focus on the other person. And so we want to be starting off any sort of conversation, any sort of marketing with showing that we truly understand their situation before we start talking about ourselves. And so I want to show you kind of what the most valuable real estate is on your HealthProfs profile to be able to start doing that. So let's just hop over onto HealthProfs and I'll show you kind of what this would look like to somebody that was considering working with you and how we can optimize that to attract more of those ideal clients into your business. So let's hop over onto HealthProfs, and here we are on the home page. And I'm just going to go down and select nutritionists and dietitians, and I'm just going to type in a city here. Let's just say Los Angeles, because that's a little north of where I'm living. And so we see a whole list of different professionals here that are either nutritionists or dietitians in Los Angeles. And so what I want you to notice here is that the top of everybody's profile, the very top section of that summary, is what people see, is the very first thing people see when they see this results page. And so this is kind of the main point that we want to be focusing on, is we want to make sure that we're opening the conversation with the right people in this area. So what I'm going to do is just kind of look through each one of these results and see, are they talking about themselves first, or are they talking about the problem that they can solve for their clients? So that is really going to influence the amount of people that click into our profile and continue reading. So let's see, when it comes to food, we believe in getting back to basics. We love real. So here's a quick way to check that is, are we saying I and we more than we're saying you? So the first thing when we're talking about we here, I think this would be better do you love real food? Do you love unprocessed, fresh, yummy food? So just flipping that script and making it less about us and more about the client is going to help show that we understand their current situation. I coach health conscious. So again, we're talking about ourselves here. I think this could be better written to focus more on them and the problems that they have. I'm a registered dietitian. So again, talking about themselves. And I don't know any of these people. I have no, I'm sure they're great professionals, but I think they would be better served if they were to start off their summary with talking about the problem that they solve for their specific clients. So let's see, as my client, at Soul. Are you looking? So I think we're getting a little better here. This is asking about them. This one really stands out to me. Do you ever eat beyond the point of fullness or feel guilty for what you ate? So again, this is talking about them and their problem. My guess is that Eve has a very high much higher click-through rate than these other listings because she's talking about the problem that her ideal client is experiencing. So let's see, with private practice, again, these are all, if we're starting with I offer nutrition counseling, again, we don't want to be talking about ourselves. We want to be talking about the client and their problem. So I'm just going to click in here and see what else Eve has written. So you can see here, the very top of her listing is what's going to show up first in those search results. So we want to make sure that we pay extra close attention to the first 3 lines that are here because this is what people are going to use to evaluate our profile. And one of the first things they're going to use to evaluate our profile and decide if they're going to click in and read more about us. So she talks about the problem here, and it's fine. Now she moves in towards the end of the summary as a registered dietitian who overcame her own food struggle. So it's okay to talk about herself later on after she's introduced what she can do for her client. So that is all I want to cover today. If this is something that you found valuable, leave me a comment. Let me know if this is something that is resonating with you. I'd love to make some more of these videos if there's enough interest. So if this is something that you take and use and implement, leave me a comment in the section below and just let me know if you made that change or made any sort of updates based on this video. And I'll make sure to make more of them to show you some of the other places that you can be optimizing your profile to attract more of those ideal clients. One of the simplest ways is if you just need a way to go in and kind of make a couple quick tweaks, is there's a good chance that if you're talking about yourself first, you may be talking about the problems the client's experiencing farther down on your summary or on your About Us section. So a simple way to fix this is just switch those 2 sections. Start talking about the problems first, and then talk about you and your specialties later on in this summary. And I think that's really going to help appeal to attracting your ideal clients, showing that you truly understand their current situation and what they're going through. And it's going to prove that because you understand that you are qualified to help them. So again, if you enjoyed this, let me know. Leave me something in the comments. Let me know if you made any sort of tweaks to your profile with this, and we'll make sure to make some more of these videos. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Take care.